Morning students. Today we will be having the third session on object oriented programming. Today's session we will be discussing object oriented programming. Myself Nazia Nadim, lecturer in computer science. So I will be teaching you computer science for first PUC and second PUC. So today's session is based on object oriented programming. Let us check out the things what we study in this particular chapter and the different topics of discussion. So object oriented programming or OOP. So OOP is chapter number 6 and in first PUC syllabus OOP is chapter number 6. So object oriented programming. So let us start and check out the different topics what we will be studying in this particular chapter. So what is OOP or what is object oriented programming? So object oriented programming is a programming technique which is used to write programs, and in this technique we are using a term called objects to write the programs. There are many languages. There are like you have natural languages, Kannada, English, Hindi. We have computer languages like C++, PHP, Java, Objective-C. See, like we use natural languages like Kannada, English, Hindi for communication between users or human beings. Likewise, we use computer languages. It is basic building blocks using which you can write the programs which computer understands. Computer will not understand Kannada, English or Hindi. It will understand its own language. A language represents different instructions that can be given to computer which is executed by the computer, and these instructions are available in computer or programming languages. Computer languages, or they are also known as programming languages. These programming languages uses various programming techniques, and the most commonly used programming technique is object oriented programming. Hope you are understanding. Let us check out the different components of a object oriented programming. Object oriented programming includes data abstraction, class, object, polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance, message passing and dynamic binding. These are the components, different components which make up object oriented system or object oriented programming system. Let us start with the different OOP characteristics. The OOP characteristics include object, class, data abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism. So these are the characteristics of object oriented programming or OOP which we will be discussing in this session. Let us start up with the term object. What is object? So what are objects? Objects can be anything. So which we will be representing in the program. For example, if you decide to write a program to represent student information, then student is your object. If you decide to write a program to process item details in a shop, In that case, items become an object. In case if you decide to write a program to process, say, books information for a library, in that case book will become an object. So we can say that an object represents an individual identifiable item, unit or entity, either real or abstract, with a well defined role in the problem. So not required that it should be a human being, it can be a thing, it can be a concept. For example, if we are representing area, if you want to represent area in the program, area can also be a object. So object is a identifiable entity which will be represented in the program. So whichever entity we decide to write the program about, that entity will become object. So we can conclude saying that an object is anything to which a concept applies. Example, student, employee. If you are processing the salary statement for an employee, employee will become an object. If you are processing inventory for a library, there can be book or the price, that will become an object. Let us have a detailed discussion on the object. What is an object? So a object can be real world object. For example, here we have taken bicycle as an example. So a bicycle or a human being, any object, it will have two things. It will have a state and a behavior. So bicycle has a state or the properties. The properties are current gear, two wheels, number of gears, color, model. Similarly, bicycle, along with the properties, bicycle will have some behavior. It will do certain activities such as accelerating, changing gears, it can move, it can stop. So all these are behavior. I shall explain you this along with one more example. So imagine we consider a student which is a real world object, and we want to write a program for processing student information, and student is our object. Student has state or a student has properties such as student has a name, student has a register number, student has a combination, student belongs to a class, and so on. Along with that, along with the properties, student does certain activities. So student does activities, for example, student writes test, student participates in a sports event. So these are the behavior of the actions or the activities which are called behavior of the object. If we have to represent the student using a software object, students' properties are represented using variables. Student name, student height, weight, marks, they are represented using variables. Students' behavior, that is the actions, that are recorded using methods or the functions. So this is about the object and how it is represented in OOP or object oriented programming. Let us see what a class is. A class is a blueprint of the object. A class is a blueprint that defines object of same type, or we can say that a class represents the common properties of many objects. Imagine there are many objects, all object has certain common properties. there are many students, all student will have name, all student will have register number, all student will have subjects, all students will have marks. So these common properties we can represent using class. Class uses methods or the functions to represent the behavior. Let us discuss what the data abstraction is. The next topic is data abstraction. So data abstraction means we are representing the essential features of an entity and we are hiding the background details. Data abstraction means we represent only the required or the essential features and we hide the background details. For example, we consider a mobile phone. A mobile phone has Bluetooth, camera, many Wi-Fi, etc. We are interested in knowing how to use the camera or Bluetooth. Rather, we are not interested in knowing how the camera works, what is the technology used, which is the camera, what is the lens size. We are not interested in those background details. We are interested only in knowing how the camera can be used. Data abstraction is representing the essential features of an entity and we are hiding the background details. Next is the data encapsulation. So what is data encapsulation? You might have seen a tablet and a capsule. See, normally when you take a tablet for cold or fever, you might have seen some tablet and you might have also seen some sort of capsule. The difference between both is a normal tablet will not have any covering, but a capsule has a plastic covering. So, in a capsule, the medicine is protected with a wrapping, but in tablet, there is no wrapping. So, when we hold a tablet and a capsule for some time, the tablet start leaving its medicine onto our palm, whereas a capsule, the medicine is safe because it is wrapped. There is a sheet which is wrapped around the medicine, so it is safe. Same as here, the wrapping of data and functions together as a single unit, and also we are keeping the data safe from outer inference and misuse. We are protecting the data without misusing. We are not allowing anybody to misuse the data. How? We are protecting it. So, how do we protect? We use a concept called data encapsulation. Data encapsulation basically protects the data. So, it will not allow data to be accessed outside the object. This concept is also called data hiding. Data encapsulation means we are wrapping, we are binding what? We are binding the data and functions as one unit and we are keeping data safe from outer inference and misuse. We are making sure that the data is not misused. We are protecting it. And this concept is called data encapsulation. So next comes inheritance. Inheritance is the mechanism of deriving a new class from an old one. We are deriving or derivation from a old class to a new class is called inheritance. Building a new class by reusing everything in an existing class. The new class, it is called subclass. A subclass can have all the properties of the old class and its own properties. For example, you can see fish and a mammal. Both belongs to a category of animal. So, fish and mammal will have all the properties of animal and its own properties. So, inheritance means we are creating a new class by reusing the existing class. Here we are reusing, or whatever available we are using that, and we are creating a new class out of it. That is called inheritance. Next comes the topic, that is polymorphism. Polymorphism is a Greek word which means one name, many forms. Poly means one. Morphs refers to forms. So polymorphism means one name, poly means many, morphs means forms. Polymorphism is a Greek word. Poly means many, morphs, forms. So polymorphism is the ability to be processed in more than one form. For example, you can see here in the example, so next comes dynamic binding. So dynamic binding means here the process or the programs are linked at the execution time. So the linking takes place during the execution of the program, and that is known as dynamic binding. So in dynamic binding, the procedure call is linked with the procedure during the execution of the program or runtime. The next topic is the applications of OOPS, or object oriented programming. What exactly do we mean by applications? Applications means the uses, where they are used. So the different applications of object oriented programming is object oriented databases, computer graphics application, artificial intelligence and expert systems, user interface design such as Windows, real-time systems. See, we discussed an operating system. In a category of operating system, we discussed real-time operating systems. So real-time operating system, they also uses the object oriented concepts. CAD and CAM softwares. CAD and CAM. CAM refers to computer aided manufacturing. CAD refers to computer aided designing, and they are used in simulations and modeling. So let us discuss what the object oriented applications are. First one is object oriented databases. Different database softwares uses object oriented concepts. Computer graphic applications. So as you can see, there are so many graphic effects in the movies and many other places. To develop such softwares, object oriented concepts are used. Artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is something like a system which thinks like an human being. To develop such systems, artificial intelligence systems, object oriented concept is used. So object oriented concept is used to design windows like menu, dialog boxes, icons, etc. Real time systems, as we discussed in the previous session, the network operating system and the real time operating systems, they also combine the concept of object oriented programming. CAM and CAD, computer aided designing and computer aided manufacturing, these softwares also uses object oriented concepts. Simulations and modeling. Simulations, you might have seen the pilot training and all, they use a simulation, how a aircraft is, how it what are the different controls and many other things. So likewise there are many simulation programs, and to develop these simulation programs the object oriented concepts are used. So this session we conclude here. This session we discussed about the object oriented programming, the different concepts of object oriented programming, what is object oriented programming, and the characteristics of object oriented programming, that is object, class, then we had discussed inheritance, polymorphism, dynamic binding, and the different applications or the uses of OOP. Hope you will follow the topics what we have discussed and you have understood what I have explained. To check on your understanding, kindly attend the 10 mark questions which will be uploaded along with this video. Check your understanding and attend the 10 mark question. Hope you all will do well. All the best. Have a great day ahead. Thank you for patience listening.